Hey, thank you for joining us. We are revisiting the Mania, a Wrestlemania Rewatch podcast. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Maria. Oh, well, Carlos and I are going to break down WrestleMania 22. WrestleMania goes big time. I'm going to give my thoughts, reactions, and opinions as a new fan to sports entertainment.
And I will be rewatching WrestleMania 2, watching the bumps and the storylines, but also if the matches I enjoyed in 2006 still hold up for me, we will make our recommendations of matches you should revisit or skip. And if we're ready, let's get into it and introduce our returning guest, Demetrius.
Hey,
Welcome back.
good to
D.
be back. I can see already things have changed. Maria, what were you drinking from? Is that a branded coffee mug?
Yes,
I
I
was
see in the theme of the Mania, it's big time now. I
like,
love it.
it
Way to go.
is. Thank you.
yeah.
I'm excited to talk to D because you were live at this WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was repping the shirt here, 22. It was such a fun experience. My first, I guess at the time it was my first and only WrestleMania that I've been to. So like so exciting.
Nice. So, did you go to any of the extra activities like they have, like access? And
Oh,
apparently, they had a press conference at the Chicago Theater.
yeah, I remembered that stuff after the fact, but I didn't go to those things. For me, it was just all I remember tickets selling out super duper fast. So just the fact that we were able to go, went with various buddies, and get those tickets were incredible, right? Felt
Wow.
very lucky.
Okay.
That's exciting. So this WrestleMania took place on April 2nd, 2006
Mm-hmm.
at the Allstate Arena, a Chicago suburb of Illinois.
Yes.
And this is the third WrestleMania to take place in Chicago.
I
That
guess.
tracks.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
like,
close to Chicago.
I really don't count WrestleMania 2 because it was like a shared event. They shared it with New York in here and then with LA. So they had like 4 matches here and then, but I guess semantics. Um, so before we get into it, we just had the Royal Rumble. Dee, do you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to share about what you think about who won, who should have
Yeah.
won?
So I like the way that it played out. So the overall event, if I were treating it like revisiting the Rumble, like revisiting the Mania, I'd
Mhm,
say the overall card was pretty weak, but
mhm,
the moments were pretty good.
Mhm.
So I was a big fan of the Women's Rumble. I love the returns. That's where all the energy came from. But
mhm.
then the matches, like the Logan Paul, man, I don't he's cool, right? But
Yeah.
I just thought that match was okay. The
Mhm.
Roman Reigns match with the rest of them, you just knew how it was going to end, so it was kind of a dud.
Right.
And then the men's rumble was slow out the gate, but it ended cool because they had all the superstars that you wanted to see at the end. So
Yeah.
it was like high, low, high. I'm glad that Cody won, but kind of given recent events on WWE TV, I'm not sure if it means what we think it means. So yeah, we will
Mm.
see.
It's ironic that, or it's kind of coincidental because normally if you win the Royal Rumble, you main event WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And here we have someone who won the Royal Rumble, Rey Mysterio. He's supposed to main event WrestleMania, and
Hmm.
he doesn't. So it might be another situation where Cody, he wins the Royal Rumble. You're supposed to main event WrestleMania, and he might not do it. So
Wow.
Yeah. Plot twist.
yeah,
Plot twist.
looks
Like
like
a multiverse.
they're just putting it into chat a GPT, and it's just spitting up the whole thing. Like, time for you to do this.
Yeah. But a lot of people agree about the Royal Rumble that the women's part of the Royal was better than the latter half.
Yeah. I didn't. The only thing I didn't like about the women's Royal Rumble, it is kind of had the same finish as last year.
Mm.
It had Rhea and Liv and I think Asuka last year, and then this year it had Liv and Bailey and was it Jade? Yeah, I think it was Jade.
Yeah. Last three.
Yeah,
Jade.
yeah. So it kind of ended on the apron on both kind of similar situation, like the setup, but that was the only thing I had. I like the women's rumble more than the men's one too.
Yeah. So, like Dee said about WrestleMania, he's definitely right. Tickets sold out in under 2 minutes, and it grossed over $2.5 million just for the event. As far as pay-per-views, well, over 17,000 people from 16 countries and 43 states attended. And the pay-per-view was lower than last year at 975,000. So that was a little surprising. But 2 minutes, that's really quick.
Well, it's a short, but it's a smaller venue
Mhm.
than the one that they were previously at. And then after that, I don't think we get into a smaller venue again until probably, I think we get one more at Madison Square Garden, but everything just keeps getting bigger.
You're right.
Yeah.
They go into football fields and like bigger stadiums after that. So
Please, I have a question. 2005, were you buying these tickets online, calling
Yeah.
over the phone?
It was online. And I might have been at work when these tickets went on sale, so I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was, logged into my Ticketmaster account and doing the refresh thing, like, okay, they're
Like,
gonna go on sale in
clicking.
3, 2, 1, and I just don't know how I ended up getting tickets that sold out in 2 minutes, but I did, and man, it was a great experience.
That is awesome. So I have not had a chance to watch the Battle Royale. Did you get a chance to see the
the
Battle Royale?
kickoff
The for the
for
Rumble?
this, no, for
For
the
WrestleMania?
the kickoff that was in here.
Oh
The
no,
rematch.
I missed it. I guess on the rewatch. I guess I was there in person, or maybe another thing that I remember. It was that the lines were crazy out the door.
Wow.
Right, so quite honestly don't remember that Rumble or that Battle Royal.
Yeah. Oh, and our first comment here from our YouTube channel. Apparently, this person definitely says Corey Hurd
Yeah.
says you were definitely at work.
I may or may not know this gentleman over here, so
Hopefully you don't work here anymore and you never get a hold of this.
Yeah.
So with this one, yeah, I did not watch. I normally did not. I made it into a kickoff. I never unless they were on Heat and they're no longer at Heat at this time. I think I never watched a kickoff. Because I was like, there's nothing ever that happened important on a kickoff that I always felt that I needed to watch. So.
I agree.
So this first match, were you excited? Big Show and Kane defeated with Carlito and Chris Masters for a tag team world championship.
Yeah, what do you think about this? Here, let me give you some member berries here, Demetrius. Okay,
go for
it.
This
is how we go to big time. Do you remember this entrance?
Yes, best part of the match. This was it. It all went downhill. Spoiler, not a fan. But I do remember, and the cool part, you can even see there, like you had it up, the set was okay, right? They kind of like Chicago architecture, but it was those signs, like the wrestler faces in the rafters.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty iconic. We haven't seen that at the WrestleMania since.
Wow.
Yeah, hanging in the rafters like championship banners.
Yeah.
So, Maria,
yes,
you're familiar to everybody in this match except for Chris Masters. So, were you rooting for Big Show and Kane, or were you rooting for Carlito and
Chris Masters?
Oh, okay.
And I'm curious to see what Dee thinks about this because this was a recommended match for me.
Okay, what was it recommended for you?
I really enjoyed it. I like the Big Show. I like Carlito and all of these wrestlers. It was short and sweet at 6 minutes and 42 seconds. I thought it was a cool combination.
Yeah, so you enjoyed seeing Carlito getting chokeslam?
Yes.
like the Big Show? Was that a good spot for you? Or was it seeing the Master Lock come into play here?
Kane.
Yeah,
good old Master Lock.
Yeah, no one was able to break the Master Lock, but apparently Kane was not, or Chris didn't get it completely on there, so that's how he was able to break out of it. So it's interesting, like how that whole thing just played out with Chris Masters and Carlito in particular. It's just like I don't remember how this tag team gets together.
Me either.
It's like I think they just randomly threw them together because they needed to get paid, or somebody needed to get paid that day. So, uh, who are you gonna put? You're not gonna put the Big Show and Kane versus someone that like last minute that can actually beat them or be like questionable to take away their thunder. That's probably why this tag team came. Because eventually after they lose, we have a disagreement between Carlito and Chris Masters as to what happened and who's blaming who. So
You
Kane
know what?
and Show retain.
You know what's wild about that picture you just showed? It's like
Mm.
those two have switched physiques now. Like if you see like modern day Carlito, dude's like a little,
Yeah, he's a little bit
swole,
more swole.
right?
Yeah, he's
And,
like a little bit
and I'm
more bigger. Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure Chris Masters was on roids, if I remember
What?
that story right. So I think he's
Ah.
more looking like Carlito these days.
Yeah.
What?
So
Now I'm gonna have to take a look after this.
if I knew we were gonna study his physique, I would have put the physique.
Side by side.
Tail of the
Like,
tape.
oh yeah,
Carlito
Pecs.
down.
that is
44-inch, right? Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I could see the change.
Yeah, as for me, I do not recommend anyone to revisit this
Oh.
match just because it seems like it would have been a standard match that you probably would have been able to see like on a Raw or SmackDown. It's WrestleMania. You're supposed to bring like the best of the best, and this match unfortunately did not live up to any type of hype that I think it probably would have been getting in on TV. What about you, D?
Oh, this is my favorite thing where I get to be tiebreaker between you two. I think I already kind of gave you my thoughts on this match from the start. And I'm not even joking. The best part was the entrance where, WWE does this when they bring two singles people together, they blend their entrance. So you got it's the Big Show, and then Kane's, all that. Nothing else about this match interested me. For the same reasons that Carlos said. They don't. So Chris Masters on his own, okay. Carlito, okay. I couldn't for the life of me figure out why they got together. And the match itself, they wrestled okay, but I mean, nothing to write home about really. Like it just, I think the biggest thing for me is that they started Mania with this. Like usually WWE knows better and they can put on a match that gets the people excited and going, and maybe that's Maria, but for me it was like, really, like, yes, for the tag titles, but
yeah. Okay.
Well, WrestleMania 21, we had Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, right? Was the first match. So that match was pretty exciting. With this match, with Big Show and Kane, sometimes size does matter in the ring. I had a good time with it. It's a recommended match for me.
All right. And
From a new Smarkin training.
Yeah, this Smarkin training recommends that people go out that are new to wrestling, come out and see the Big Show and Kane if you want to see big men.
Kane is not a favorite, but yeah, I thought this was cool.
All right. We're moving on to the second match. The second year of the Money in the Bank ladder match. This match goes for 12 minutes and 14 seconds. We had Matt Hardy, Shelton Benjamin back from last year, WrestleMania 21. Fit Finlay with the Shillelagh. Rob Van Dam, the WrestleMania debut of Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
And Rick, for some reason, wants to be in this ladder match. Flair.
He wanted to be 17-time.
This is a rough way to earn it here. So, Maria, you've seen everybody, especially Shelton from last year, and you're a fan of Rob Van Dam. You actually have not seen Bobby Lashley unless you paid attention to more recently, because he's back in the company. He's working. He's got his own thing going with the Street Profits.
A fan of the dirtiest player in the game.
And the dirtiest player in the game. Yeah. Who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for RVD. I thought this was a really cool match, and I enjoyed seeing Ric Flair in this match. And I keep thinking of the last ladder match I watched in WrestleMania couldn't be topped. But this one I thought was pretty cool. WrestleMania 21, they had a ladder match, so I'm talking about that one.
Mm-hmm.
And Ric Flair, I thought was pretty cool. It was easily a recommended watch for me.
All right, definitely. What about you, D?
A total recommendation on this one. I liked it a lot, and I think it should have been the one to open the show, really,
Yeah.
because of all the high flying and just the activity, the spots, everything there. The question you asked Maria, who were you rooting for? Like, there were a few people in there. I liked Rob Van Dam going into it. It played out very well for him. But yeah, give me this match to start the show, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Or anywhere on the card.
Yeah, definitely agree that this should have been the match to start off WrestleMania. I was a big fan of the previous one, and in particular, I was a big fan of Shelton.
Yeah, Shelton.
And Shelton and RVD stole the show in this particular one. We had this one spot with the Van Daminator, RVD to Bobby Lashley, and then Shelton did his one dive like he did last year, setting up the ladder as a ramp and just taking out the whole bunch.
Know who's not in that pile over there? Nature Boy's
Ric
like,
Flair.
no,
He's right here.
I
He's
paid my
down at the
dues.
bottom. He's like, no, I'm not taking it. Yeah.
He's like, that's a hit I'm not gonna take.
Yeah, he's like, I'm 56 years old. I do not have to take these bumps.
Yeah,
And
but
then
I didn't see Shelton Benjamin with the climb up the ladder and he catapults himself like you're showing here. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then 56-year young Flair gets suplexed from the top of the ladder, not once, but twice.
Yeah, he takes those big bumps. The first bump, I think he really needed to go take a break. He probably got his air taken out of him. So they kind of had like one of those he's injured, but everybody knows what the injury sign is, so they put in like one of these fake X's just to do like get him out of the ring, maybe have him like catch his breath, and so he's not in the way or anything like that. Yeah. And then he comes back, and when he comes back, he decides to climb the ladder, and Finley hits him with the shillelagh.
Yes, he was cool in this match too.
Yeah, right.
So, you're watching this in person. Yeah. Were you standing up? Were you?
I'm assuming you're standing up
for the spots for sure. It was very exciting, and when you're in the stadium, like you on TV, you kind of get a full sense of you got the angles and the replays and everything. When you're there and someone goes out of the ring, you can't really see them on the floor. Like if the ring is between you and the floor, so you got to try to see what you can see there. But kind of going back to Rick, right? So we saw why he was in the match. Yeah, I think it was 2006. He might have invented extra. He was, I'm limping out. Oh, I'm so hurt. Oh, I come back dramatically. He invented extra.
Yeah. If there's anything that Rick could do, he can always like sell. Yeah. Just either being hurt or like when he's in a match, like especially early in his career, always the beg off where he's like, please don't hurt me, please. And then be like, thumb to the eye.
Yep.
So,
classic.
Yeah. Wow. So, and then we had a little RVD splash on Fifth Italy after this. That was a good spot too.
Yes.
And at the end, we do get that RVD wins. He recovers the briefcase. And he has a long fall after he recovers that briefcase to land. And I think it takes him out for a little bit because
he keeps... he was going to make it? Or were...
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, as far as like him flying off the ladder, what did you think about the spot?
When he goes up there to get the belt?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was a good spot. Like as far as him being up there, the only thing that he had a rough landing after he grabbed the briefcase, like he lost his balance, and it could happen if the ladder bends. Like those ladders are like, they say it's steel, but I think it's just aluminum, and so they're easily to be like bent, and they can like be plied in certain ways and get twisted. Yeah. So that's probably what happened with the ladder. He lost his balance, and then he kept trying to get up, and he kept falling down because he couldn't recover from that fall. But it was a good match. Like, seemed like everyone wanted RVD to win. If anything, like thinking back to how I would have been watching that match, I probably wanted RVD to win, but seeing the previous Mania just last week and how Shelton pretty much like was the bright star in that match, I was like, this should have been Shelton's year.
Yeah, he was excellent in this match
Like
as
I still
well.
would have been able to like Shelton Benjamin deserves more credit and that or like more accolades that he's gotten from his time at
Agreed.
the WWE. He did not get the shine he should have gotten, and I feel like he should have gotten it here because he did a great job with all these spots, not only in this one but also in the previous one. So,
Yeah.
even though I didn't get the win or Shelton didn't get the win, I still recommend that people go out and watch this match and this particular WrestleMania.
Mhm.
But if you had to choose between Money in the Bank ladder matches and these were the only two, I still go with the first one. The first one had more fun spots.
Mm.
Yeah,
What about you,
agree.
D?
They had more. They had better superstars too, and I think everyone's like, we wanted RVD to win
Mhm.
because nobody wanted Fit Finley to win. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
yeah. Can you
the just
imagine?
the people in the match were
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I want Matt Hardy to win. Okay,
Uh,
yeah. So
You know what's funny? I forgot that Hardy was in this
yeah, they keep
match.
telling you that he's in this match, and they keep like iterating that he's been in several ladder matches. He's a veteran. He should be able to like they kind of build it and hype it where he might win because of experience, but we all know Matt Hardy version 3.5 or whatever he's at right now was not gonna be it.
yeah, but agree
Hmm.
with Shelton being the MVP of that match.
Hmm. All right, so we're all in agreement. Please do you go out there, do yourself a favor if you have not watched this. If you haven't watched any matches of WrestleMania 22 and you're out sick or it's a rainy day and you're like, what can I see? Go ahead, pop this up. Find it on YouTube, stream it on Peacock, preferably stream it on Peacock so I don't get into trouble. But make sure you watch this ladder match.
Oh.
And with that, we'll move on to the Hall of Fame inductees. This came around early in this pay-per-view card. So we have one of the first inductees, which shocks me that he did not go in uh, when the Brain did.
Right?
So we had Mean Gene Okerlund going in there. And then with Mean Gene along, we had Sherry. Sherry, Sensational Queen Sherry goes in there. I had the pictures, but I can't
Hey, I'm
find them.
curious. So you're in the crowd at WrestleMania 22, and the crowd is going wild over Eddie Guerrero. Did that make you emotional?
It I appreciated the moment. Yeah, I Eddie, I forgot how long before the show he passed, but it wasn't it was definitely under a year, probably like 6 months
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. So it was emotional, not like tears, but emotional, like proud, like, man, dude, there's people showing him his respect. It was very, very well done by WWE. They don't always get the Hall of Fame right necessarily, but getting him in there when they did was, I think, a good call.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the other person that made the this particular Hall of Fame class was Tony Atlas.
Mhm.
We had also had Vern Gagne, the old AWA founder and owner, and the Blackjacks.
Uh-huh.
Look at them.
And
I remember when they were first wrestling.
yeah, they aged.
Still handsome.
You think
Look at
so?
those
Power
mustaches.
of the mustache.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And then local celebrity, the Fridge, William Perry. How
Also
big
with the
was the pop for
mustache.
the Fridge?
Yeah, big pop for the Fridge. Chicagoans are always gonna kind of meathead default to our sports heroes, whether they be like the best player or they just be fan favorite. So
Mhm.
Fridge definitely, just people have to remember him from WrestleMania 2.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, from that battle royal where we got the debut of Bret Hart in that battle royal. He didn't last too long in there,
So I'm
but
kind of curious. One of the inductees was supposed to be Bret Hart. Are you surprised that he didn't show?
Yeah, I remember that. So I was disappointed because he was never my favorite, but I always liked him. Right. So the fact that we get to see him go be inducted into the Hall of
Mhm.
Fame or at least
Mhm.
come out on the stage and then for them to announce like he's not coming out tonight, Howard Finkel says it kind of a little bit of a bummer. It didn't take away from the whole show, but it was like, dude, like this is your moment.
Was he
Yeah.
gone from the company at this time?
Oh yeah, he had already been gone. He did not decide to accept an offer when Vince bought out WCW. He just waited out his contract.
After Montreal.
And yeah, I mean, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Like
Mhm.
you had a contract in place. Now, whoever believe in particular, like who's right and who's wrong. But if Brett had the contract and it said that he had creative control and that was not how he wanted to go out, you still have to honor that. Yeah, he wins the belt, but knowing Brett, he's not gonna take it. Brett has too much honor, and they were
Yeah.
afraid for some reason he was gonna show up in WCW with that belt. So
Mm.
yeah, we did a whole thing with the Montreal Screw Job. If you haven't watched that, please feel free to go back and through our playlist about revisiting the Montreal Screw Job, and we got more details on that. Um, do you have any other thoughts or anything about this Hall of Fame class? Is there any particular wrestler besides Eddie and like Bret Hart? Were you a big Tony Atlas fan or Blackjacks? Do you remember seeing any of
I
them?
remember seeing them, but can't say that I was the biggest fans of them. I think every Hall of Fame class has those people that you respect, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be your favorites, right? They
Mhm.
they get in there. It was really about Eddie and about
Mhm.
the Hitman, but I guess the good thing about Brett not being there is that it allowed Eddie to really get his shine right there, or Vicky, to have her
Mhm.
moment on behalf of him. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah, and maybe that's why Brett did it. You never know, because he does kind of like
No.
hold like that honor
Mm-hmm.
where he feels like he knows he's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. He does have that persona in him once in a while, that cockiness, but he still like knows, like he's very humble. He knows when to hold back and when not to make it about himself. So maybe I'll see if I could find that up somewhere and pull it up some other time. Any type of audio snippets or anything like that about why he refused to be there. But with
Yeah.
that,
I
go
like
ahead.
that moment with Eddie Guerrero and his wife. I actually got a little misty-eyed,
Mhm.
so I thought they did.
Yeah, they did a great job with the production because you see them come out, Chavo and Vicky,
Mhm.
and then like Dee mentioned, they have the banners with everyone's face all around it, and after they do that, they just go straight shot to Eddie, and then you see him right there in the rafters. And
Yeah, but also shout out to the fans that were there because they were all up clapping and had their posters out for Eddie, which I thought was pretty important too. So with that takes us to match number 3.
yeah, we have the United States title on the line. Chris Benoit, the United States champion, versus John Bradshaw Layfield, who's escorted to the ring by Jillian Hall. This match goes for 9 minutes and 48 seconds.
D, who are you rooting for?
Chris Benoit. It feels weird to say in modern times,
Mhm.
but back then, I thought he just had such he didn't have a lot of charisma, but he still had a good character.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Very intense. You knew he could wrestle.
Right.
A match of his going 10 minutes is not a problem. Where for other folks, you'd be like, all right, I need to wrap this up right now. So I was definitely rooting for him, and
Right.
also because JBL is such a great heel that how could you not root against him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As much as JBL like doesn't do very well in the ring, he does do good work with his character. And then there's that one thing. Was that with Eddie Guerrero when he's pretending to be on border patrol?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
fun.
Since
That was a fun
sensibilities were
gimmicks.
maybe a little
Yeah,
different then,
yeah,
or maybe they're the same as today. Who knows? But it's yeah, that was a funny sketch.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I agree with you. It's weird to say no. Problematic Benoit. We know the story behind him. But as far as the wrestling, he was a great wrestler on par with like a Kurt Angle. I've seen them wrestle before.
mhm.
And it's just great wrestling, that technical wrestling that you like to see. With all that said, this match was okay, and it's not a recommended match for me for a rewatch. But do you guys think the showdown deserves some attention?
No, it's just one of those matches that you probably would have been able to see like on TV, like on a Raw and SmackDown. It's got a short time. It's the only thing that was cool, just like Dee mentioned with the Big Show and Kane, was the entrance. Because there's not a lot of times that we saw anything like this. Normally, we'll see like vehicles, like when Stone Cold had like ATVs or The Undertaker and Triple H, they ride the motorcycles down the ramp. But in this particular instance, we actually had the ramp raise up, and then JBL's limo just drove right through the curtain and or underneath the ramp that they had for the wrestlers, and that was a pretty cool like entrance. But after that, that's like the only highlight. Uh, like that, I don't recommend anyone watch this match. There's other Benoit matches if you're going down a rabbit hole and you're like, man, everyone keeps talking about Chris Benoit. This isn't a match that you should go watch. There's other matches, especially in his younger years of WCW, that you should go out there and watch. But
So you didn't think the Rabbit Wolverine brought his A game during this match against
it's not
JBL?
about him mostly bringing his A game. It's more about JBL. JBL's like, as much as praise as I gave him, I think in that WrestleMania X-7
Mhm.
or tag match that he was in, where he kind of impressed me. Like his wrestling skills have like, I'm not sure what happened. Like if he just decided to focus more on his gimmick and on his character, but like those glimpses of wrestling aptitude have seemed to have gone down. So
So
it,
I
it
mean,
like, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was saying he called himself the wrestling god.
Yeah.
Not really, bro. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
not at that point.
Yeah. Like he does great character work, but his in ring skills eventually start diminishing. So, I'm assuming this is a pass for you too.
Yeah, it is. It was disappointing because I thought it could be good. But because when I think about, I'm gonna give JBL some credit from a wrestling standpoint. He's physical. Like he really go in and be a bully, and like you can get some high impact moves from him. And then Benoit intends to a fault. So I'm like, oh, this is really going to be kind of smash mouth, and it was fine. But still disappointing because I expected more than fine. So I would not recommend it. Like it was neither of their best work.
Right. And with that, we'll move on to our next match, which is the hardcore match. The rated R superstar Edge with Lita versus Mick Foley. This match.
So what did you think about this match, Dee? Tell us, because you were there live.
Totally looking forward to it. It exceeded expectations. So unlike the match that came before it, like this was, you didn't really see Edge in hardcore style matches like that. Like he's done his ladder matches in TLC, but Mick Foley takes it to a whole nother level. So kind of coming into it, I thought it was going to be good. It exceeded expectations, had some cool spots, some good characters. So yeah. What about you two?
I thought that it was a good match. This is one of my favorite matches. Goes a little bit of an upgrade, recommended, but this is a favorite match. This is one that you should go out and take a look if you haven't been able to catch anything recent of Mick Foley, obviously because retired. But Edge, we have been seeing him lately, especially out in AEW as his government name Adam Copeland. And that lets you show a little bit of why he may be a little bit of a big deal. So we got this whole spot where Edge is throwing lighter fluid onto Mick Foley.
I was hoping it was water.
No, it ends up being lighter. For
I
this.
know, but
We
I was
find out
really
very
hoping it
much.
was water.
Yeah, because it's a hardcore match. We do get some interference here once in a while from Lita, but Lita does get her comeuppance and she gets a Mr. Sacco.
She
Oh,
does.
Yeah.
With barbed wire.
Yeah, he wrapped around that barbed wire, and eventually Edge gets a little bit of control, and he finds the thumbtacks. Now,
Everybody gets it.
and you think that Mick Foley's gonna get him, but no, it ends up being Edge. Edge
Both of
takes
them
the
got them,
Did
though.
they?
Just
Oh, I do see a little bit in right there. You're
Yeah.
all right. I don't
it's in Mick
remember him
Foley's
taking it.
contract to have to take about minimum
Yeah.
26 tacks, right?
Right?
If not more.
Yeah, he hits a bonus, like when those football
Oh,
players have to
yeah.
tackle one more person to get their bonus.
Pretty
So,
much.
yeah, but it was a fun match. Like especially the setup at the end, because the setup at the end to go home, we have Lita coming out here and she's adding fuel to this match. She's making sure that this match goes out with a bang. Eventually gets lit on fire. And Mick Foley takes a spear from Edge through the ropes to the outside. Edge gets the pin in the win in this hardcore match. What did you think?
Well, Dee, you're there watching this in person. You, your friends, the
Yeah.
crowd. What was it like?
It was when that table, everything else was great leading up to it. But when that table got on fire, that was the moment. Didn't see that coming. I mean, you can see, okay, the gasoline, but are they really going to do it? I think that's the thing that makes the Mick Foley match worthwhile, because he's not technically savvy, let's say that, but it's always it's like, what is he going to do this time, right? How is he going to try to kill himself? Oh, it's this way. And but it was like, I mean, bang bang, they set it on fire, the spear through the ropes. You could feel the heat. Yeah, no pun intended. Good catch
Yeah,
on
right.
that one, right? So yeah, you could feel the heat from the fire and the table on fire. So everything about that spot in that match hit for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
do you
to
recommend
hear.
that people go out and watch this match too?
Yeah, you can I recommend it as either an Edge fan or a Mick Foley fan or
Yeah.
someone who is even not a fan who wants to understand like what's a good hardcore match,
Mhm.
right? Like this hit on all levels.
Yeah,
And
I
Maria?
agree. This was definitely a recommend match for me. Mick Foley, if you haven't watched his dumpster match, that's awesome.
Yeah, that also
Hell in
took
a
place in
Cell,
Chicago.
awesome. This match is definitely burned into my memory. You definitely have to go out there and
Burned.
watch it. Like he said he could feel the heat from the fire that was on the table. I was hoping that it was water because I didn't want to see Mrs. Foley's baby boy get burned. Then we see like they're on fire. They get thrown onto thumbtacks. I feel like there was a ladder too.
No
No?
ladder in this one.
Was it Edge that pulled something out from under the ring? I can't
It was
remember.
the candlestick. He pulls
Was it to have a cookie sheet or something?
Yeah, they had cookie sheets. They pulled out cookie sheets, the baking sheets. They start off the match with that.
Yeah.
They also pull out candlesticks. That
Steel
one.
chairs.
Steel chairs, yes, because he does like that one man concerto that they used to do when they were Edge and Christian.
Yeah, there was so much chaos during this match. It was excellent, exciting, really good. Definitely one of my favorite matches. Glad that Mick Foley is still with us to this day because it was just so crazy.
Yeah, I saw a headline recently that Mick Foley thinks he has one more hardcore match in him before he turns 60.
Oh no!
Yeah. Again, and you would think it would be terrible, except
it might.
What is he going to do to try to kill himself at this point, right? And I think that's just the draw with him. One spot that I just want to call out because it was pretty cool. It was when Edge speared him, but he didn't know. Like basically, Foley had the 2 layers of flannel on, and Foley wrapped himself in barbed wire. Like, bro, really? This is what he did. So, yeah, just they thought of everything in this one.
Yeah, like whoever booked that spot where he's like, you know what, you should wear barbed wire underneath, wrap it around your body, and take a spear that I'm not sure like where it catches Edge, but it little piece catches him and he's bleeding throughout the whole
Then
match.
he wraps Mr. Sacco and then like punches Lita like in her face. I'm like, what more can we have in this match?
This match definitely make yourself lock yourself in a room or do something, but we gotta watch this match. I can't talk about any more about this without having to like actually go back upstairs, turn it back on, and have at it to go check that match out again.
Yeah.
So is that our first unanimous?
No, I think
it's our second.
The Money in the Bank was their second unanimous match. So yeah, moving along here. I'm sure this was probably gonna be a pass for all of us. The Boogeyman making his WrestleMania debut versus Booker T and Sharmell. This match goes for 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Maria, what did you think about the Boogeyman?
I thought he was a little spooky, and I had to look to see if real worms were used, so we could be like, no worms were injured.
No, they were injured. They were ingested.
They were euthanized.
They were. I was just like, wow, people are rolling and smashing worms. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
But this is actually a recommended match for me.
Ooh.
I like the walk-in and I don't know if you all caught this while you were in the audience. When they're walking through all the creepy wrestlers, somebody is like licking Mae Young's foot.
Gene
Snitsky.
Yeah.
Gold Dust is being extra creepy and awesome. I love that whole vignette. I love the introduction, and I had a good time with this match. Wrestling, there's not a lot of wrestling, but the story and the kayfabe, it's
also that match did exactly what it was. This is like a cool down, like a palate cleanser for like the brutalness and the violence that we just experienced. So it worked. Whoever booked this did what, because I didn't enjoy it, even though that's what this match is supposed to be. It's supposed to like help you erase whatever you just saw in the previous match. You saw all that blood, you saw people on fire briefly, and now you get to see a guy coming out with worms. Try not to feel like Sharmell and Booker T in this match. And yeah, this was an intergender tag match. Ends up with Sharmell getting caught here by the Boogeyman as she was trying to help Booker that was stuck in the corner. And the Boogeyman and Sharmell get a little personal. So not only exchanging bodily fluids, but exchanging worms.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting that you said that this was palate cleansing because
the visual showed otherwise.
I am curious to ask you all though. So Booker T and John Cena were in a match right before this. So I'm kind of surprised that this match with Booker T and the Boogeyman took place instead of Booker T and John Cena. I would have also liked to see them wrestle.
Yeah, I would love to see that, because in some of the promotional posters, you actually see John Cena and Booker T. And John Cena's giving like a bulldog, like to Booker T. It's like like his version of it. But we don't get that match. We get John Cena and Triple H.
Yeah, and that's why I'm posing this question, because like you said, promotional poster features Booker T and John Cena wrestling at No Mercy in 2004. So I'm like, the No Mercy match was pretty cool. I took a look, I watched it. I enjoyed seeing them both wrestle. So I'm like, why didn't we have them at this WrestleMania?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, WWE is always going to go where the money's at, and it's unfortunate that you can see that they put the money in John Cena. They put stock in him. They think he's the guy, and they just will default to Triple H 9 times out of 10 over anybody else. And unfortunately, Booker T, he as respected as he is, he's not that draw in their eyes like Triple H is. But I agree with you. Like Booker so underrated throughout his whole career. Really was a fan from like his WCW days all the way through his retirement. He changed his character so much. The stuff with him and Sharmell, King Booker, and all of that stuff, like so good.
Yeah, he's a really strong wrestler. So once I kind of like looked at the promotional poster, we watched WrestleMania 22, and I'm like, I didn't see this match. I'm like, what the hell happened? But with that said, I know it's a recommended match for me. I enjoy the story, the kayfabe. Like I said, Goldust doing his creepy. I was just like,
I don't know what he was wearing. It was like some.
He was wearing a dress and
was it
his
a dress? Okay, it was
ring gear, but that whole scene in the hallway, I'm just like, what? What do you think, D?
I'm gonna have to politely disagree. I think what did we say this match was? Like 3 minutes 3 minutes and 43 seconds. I think the backstage segment was about that time too, maybe longer. That was a better use of time than the 3 minutes and 43 seconds of this match.
I can see that.
So we tell somebody to rewatch it. Do y'all remember the fog? Like the boogeyman?
Yeah,
when I tried to rewatch, you couldn't even see the match in the first place. So how are you going to rewatch it? I saw Sharmell. At the end of the day, it did what it was supposed to do. So I didn't go in with high hopes. But I'm not telling anybody to rewatch that. I don't know what you're getting out of it if you're rewatching it.
That's true. Watch the intro, past the match.
Watch Mae Young's foot get caressed in the vignette, and then just skip to the next match.
I was like, oh, that's happening. Okay.
Mae Young, I don't know. Speaking of contracts, Mick Foley, he put stuff in his contract. How did Mae Young just always end up on TV with these kind of creepy, kind of freaky things? Like, as old as she was.
Yeah, I don't know what type of debts her and Moolah had at 80-something years old, but they needed to pay them off, D.
I don't think that's what it was.
I mean, I can't be mad at the hustle.
Fan favorites. So this is a pass for you.
This is a pass for me, even though it does what it's supposed to. Like, listening to you explain why you loved it, like, okay, it makes sense. It's a palate cleanser. You're supposed to forget everything. It does what it's supposed to do. But as far as like making someone go out there and be like, yes, you have to watch it because you know this and this and this. No, it's just skip it. There's no reason for you to watch this. It doesn't give you any type of wrestling education or anything unless you want to see how a palate cleanser should be done, because it worked on my wife.
I'm just really glad that nobody got ringworm after this match.
Cue up the rib shot there. Nicely done.
Wait, we actually have that noise. Hold on. Wait.
Is there another?
Oh no, it's the wrong one. But we'll go ahead and.
Oh, we have a sound.
So I have to get that.
Got the mug sound.
Yeah.
So with that,
we're getting a little bit better with things, D. Maybe by WrestleMania 40, we'll have like videos and like
you'll be in a studio.
Yeah. So the next match we have is the Women's Championship match. We have Mickie James and Trish Stratus. This match goes for 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Maria? Yeah. This is your first introduction to Mickie James, and you've seen Trish for the past, what is this, like 16? So it's like 6-7 WrestleManias.
We have. So. This is actually a recommended match for me. I enjoyed watching this match. I was happy to see Mickie James lock horns with Trish Stratus.
So, I mean, she does straddle her in a couple of these,
I think this is a better women's match than what we've been seeing in previous WrestleManias. So I was happy to see this match, and I feel like it kind of kicks off more good matches with women. We get something later that we'll talk about, but I thought this was a pretty solid match.
Yeah, this is definitely. We actually get blood. I don't recall seeing anyone bleeding in previous matches that we've seen with Moolah or Velvet McIntyre or Alundra or anything like that. So Mickey's bleeding right here from her nose. So it's a very good match. This is one of the best women's matches that we've had in the past 21 WrestleManias. This is, I know you've recommended women's
Well, I like
matches.
China, so
Yeah,
she
but
had some good spots in previous WrestleManias.
yeah, so in particular with this one, this is like the first women's match that I can recommend that someone go out and revisit, because this starts setting a trend forward where the women's or the Divas division now ends up being called in the future until that gets retired. But it starts setting a standard because we start getting more women that are more capable of wrestling. In the next WrestleMania, I think we get Beth Phoenix.
I don't
And
think
she
it's
ends up being
not that women are not capable, because we had, what was it, the nighttime show, the women's wrestling glow? Was it?
yeah,
No.
but that was more like a whole show that's catered around and built for women wrestlers.
Right.
Where in particular here, Vince, after like going years without having like a good women's stable or roster,
Mhm.
he was just having them out there as sex symbols. We had pillow fights,
Which
we
we'll have
had
later.
bra and panties matches, evening gown matches, and now we have an actual match. We have moves like I showed in the previous picture. We actually
Right.
had someone bleed,
Mhm.
and you haven't seen that before in any of the WrestleManias that were previous.
So this is like the next step in an evolution of
Mhm.
women's wrestling in WWE. But Dee, what do you think about this match? Who are you rooting for?
I was like most of Chicago rooting for Mickey James, which is as the
Oh.
heel, which it was the craziest part. So everything was crazy about this match, but in a good way. Mickey James was crazy. Really helped make this angle work.
Yeah.
But the fact that, I mean, there were the Let's Go Mickey chants and kind of, you know how wrestling, the yay, boo,
Mhm.
yay,
Yes.
right? The yays were for Mickey. And it didn't make sense why they kind of turned on Trish the way they did. But
Ooh.
I can talk forever about this match. The way I think, Carlos, you introduced me to the levels here, where it's like we're not just talking about do I like the match. Favorite is like a next tier.
Mhm.
This one might have been one of my favorite ones in the whole card, and it's because of how they built it. Right?
Mhm.
The way they introduced Mickey. Friendly, little more than friendly. Oh my goodness, you're a stalker. Oh, you're holding people hostage who are friends to Trish Stratus. Oh, you're going to have a fight now at WrestleMania for her title. Oh, you're actually going to be able to wrestle because now, wow, we didn't expect this because
Right.
Vince used to do all the nonsense with the women. Like
Mhm.
just they brutalized each other. Mickey bleeding, that just added to the crazy.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I really think they did this very well.
That's
Mhm.
What a
awesome.
And I
surprise
wanted,
ending to me.
yeah, like I was really surprised that they would actually have that happen. There's not a lot of times that we get like a heel winning at WrestleMania.
Mhm.
It's normally like Vince likes to send like the fans happy, but obviously it was a great call because the crowd was hot for Mickey James. And I wonder if one little thing I want to show you before we go out here, about this match. Do you think Rhea started getting some inspiration about her pinning combination? Because
See, wait. So
pinning
is that
combination
when
with
Trish
this.
Stratus was born?
Yeah,
Is that the very
maybe
moment in
that's when
time?
Maria. Yeah, maybe that's where she got Trish
Oh,
Straddle
gals,
from.
guys,
No, but I'm just pointing it out because that's how Rhea Ripley does her pins now.
and make your grandma's knitting needle group blush.
Yeah, you might be right though. How she came up, there's a lot of nods to the past in wrestling,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I didn't think
Wow.
about it until I actually saw that pin. So it's very interesting how, like you mentioned, there's a lot of nods, especially in the women's. The women's have now like been putting out some of those nods to other divas that have paved the road forward to them.
So at 9 minutes, Mickey James secures a pinfall, becoming
Mhm.
the WWE Women's Championship.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious, for those listening, those watching, did this make you a lifelong Mickey James or Trish Stratus fan? Let us know in the comments. I'm very curious.
Mhm.
So with
Definitely made
that,
me a Mickey James fan.
that's true too.
If it didn't make you a Mickey James fan, like She's still wrestling. I'm not sure if she's gonna continue
Is she
to
still
get in
wrestling?
the ring, but she
Wow.
was still wrestling in TNA. She became like creative for like another wrestling promotion. I can't remember which it is off the top of my head, but she was still wrestling up till either a few months ago.
Hmm.
And with this one, we go to our next match. Oh,
Are
we
you
got another comment from our live stream.
from
Here from
Corey?
Corey. Trish is still one of my top
Top
female wrestlers.
wrestler.
Yeah, she's definitely progressed. I agree. Corey, with this one from when we seen her debut at WrestleMania 2000 as a valet to where she is now. Like I said, it's like that was 2000, so 6 years of WrestleMania events, and she's finally in a match that can not only showcase her skills and how much she's grown, but also show off the skills of someone else, because that's essentially what she's doing here. She's putting Mickey James over as the new champion.
Wow. So this next match almost put me into my grave.
The Undertaker versus Mark Henry casket match. All right.
Oh, she was a
Oh,
huge part.
yeah, follow-up comment from Corey. She was a huge part of the evolution of female wrestlers. Yes, definitely agree. And with this one, we have Undertaker. Loved the entrance of the Druids going out there and chanting, so we get that. And we started getting a little bit of fog and mist and everything in there. Now we got a little bit also of pyro, where there was like kind of some lightning strikes, and that lights up the whole backstage. How did that entrance feel? Because I'm still looking for that Undertaker entrance. It's kind of similar to this, but I remember more lightning bolts, and I thought this was it, but it's not. It's like I think they had like some rockets go off and aim at the stage, and that sets up everything else.
Yeah, I can't remember the one you're talking about, like if it was in an arena or like a stadium. But he's had after a while they kind of start to feel and look the
Mm-hmm.
same. But still probably one of the best things. Like if you're a wrestling fan and you get to see the Undertaker's entrance, it feels important, right?
Did it give you chills in the match?
I can't say that.
Okay.
You're trying to get me in character now. Like, oh, I was frozen. I couldn't watch it was coming down the ramp. Like, it was cool. We keep it in perspective.
Okay.
Oh man. So I'm a big fan of Mark Henry. And I've seen him wrestling. I can't think of his name right now. Who's the guy that's like, yes.
Brian
Daniel
Danielson.
Bryan.
Yes, I've seen matches with them. Who were you rooting for?
For me, it
Yeah, I
was
think
100% Undertaker.
What?
Yeah, I think Mark is cool. Mark Henry got better after that. Like when he had I think it was was it the 3-6 Mafia theme? The somebody's gonna get the ass kicked. Like when he morphed into that character,
Yeah.
I was a big fan. Before that, he was Sexual Chocolate. I thought that was cool, but he was just in this little in between thing right now where I still don't get me wrong, I didn't dislike him, but it was like, hey, Undertaker, it's the Undertaker. I had to give him love.
So is he still in his streak at this point?
Yes,
The
he's still in the
Undertaker?
streak.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious. So he hasn't broken it yet.
No, he still has not lost at a WrestleMania as of yet.
So Carlos, who were you rooting for? Were you rooting for the Undertaker at this time too?
I think with this one, if I remember back in 2005, no, 2006. Yeah, sorry. I would have been rooting for the Undertaker, but now, like rewatching this, I just wanted the match to.
Wow. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, there wasn't much happening in the match. I thought it was an okay match.
Yeah.
It actually, I didn't really give Mark Henry at that time much credit for being that much of a wrestler. So he did a little bit better than I thought, and I think the gimmick helped with the casket, but not to the point of, it being too long of a match. Like it was okay.
Yeah, if you out there, or if D can think of it, but in the comments, if you have like a casket match that you could recommend for Maria to rewatch, I can't think of one off the top of my head, because Undertaker has had several casket matches throughout his career. I know he's had one with I think a couple of times with Kane, and then he's had one with, I think, if it wasn't with Brett, it was with
He had that one with
HBK.
HBK where
Yeah,
HBK hurt his back.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was on the fence about this. I like the gimmick of the casket. I was excited to see them wrestle.
mhm.
And I think this match had all the elements of like a good Undertaker showdown.
Yeah.
But with that, it's not a revisit for me.
Mhm.
I wanted to say at first that this is like definitely a recommended match and something that you have to watch. But like you said, I think the wrestling's okay.
Yeah, it's just like a standard, like it was probably supposed to, like, it's like a squash match, only they had to extend it a little bit more because they had the casket. Because you can't be like, oh, the Undertaker just destroys Mark Henry,
Yeah.
and then he throws him into the casket, and then we're out of here like in 4 or 5 minutes.
But
So
the way he went into the casket was pretty cool. Didn't he like fly through the ropes or something like that?
Well, he flies over the casket at one point. He does like one of
That
those
was
dope
good.
as suicide dives.
That was super cool.
You don't see the casket, but it's pictured right here, right
Wow.
underneath the Undertaker as he leaps over the ropes. Is that one of the times that Undertaker actually does one of his high flying moves? Because as he got a little bit older, he used to incorporate those earlier in his career. I remember him doing that suicide over the top rope dive. But as he got older, that gets a little bit more.
I do really enjoy seeing Undertaker walk on the ropes.
Mhm.
Like he's super tall guy. That's always impressive to me.
Yeah.
So
It's cool seeing him be the little guy in the match. Like he's
Yeah.
taller than Mark Henry, but he had to basically do the running around and jumping.
Yeah.
And props for literally jumping over that casket because that casket was humongous. Because
Yeah.
Mark Henry is a big, fat, strong man. So he needed a big casket for him and Undertaker. So dude had ops. I just want to give
Yeah.
it to him because later Undertaker, he couldn't do that anymore.
He's sturdy.
Yeah. So
He's
there are spots that we like, obviously, but I cannot recommend this Undertaker match. Do you recommend people go back and rewatch this match?
No, if you are not watching this WrestleMania, you don't need to watch this match. But if you're watching Mania, you don't have to skip the match. You know what I mean? If it makes sense, it was
Right.
good enough
Yeah,
to
yeah,
not to watch on the card, but you're not going to seek this one out,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I got
Yeah.
you. All right.
Well, 928, the dead man seals the deal with the tombstone
Yeah, I
pile
can't believe
driver.
you got him up though. Look at that.
Wow. That was impressive as well.
Like sometimes you got a little help, and I'm glad that Mark Henry was able to help him get himself up there so the Undertaker could get him down. But that was the one impressive thing besides the suicide dive that he does outside.
Yeah.
So
Did
he
this
tried to do
match
that
go ahead.
last ride, right, where you tried to, Undertaker normally sticks the hands up before the power bomb. He wasn't doing that with Mark Henry though.
No,
It was like,
definitely wasn't.
no.
It would have been it would have been the shortest ride, not the
Yeah.
longest ride. A comment here from our live stream. Yeah, WrestleMania 22's original plan was Shawn Michaels versus Eddie Guerrero. Kevin, thank you very much for joining our live stream and dropping that comment. I definitely would have loved to have seen that match.
Is that a match that we've seen before?
What's up?
Have we seen the Shawn Michaels or Eddie Guerrero before?
I can't think of it.
I don't know. If we did, we saw it on TV, and it was probably like one of those like throwaway matches. Like it was either a disqualification or a count out or some interference.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember seeing that particular match in a pay-per-view at all.
I agree with Kervin. If we had the opportunity to see them, that would have been an epic match.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to have seen that. Both are amazing wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And with this, so we were all passing this, right? You went from recommending it to...
Yeah, it's not a recommended match. It didn't give me goosebumps.
And D says, don't watch it unless for some reason you cannot change the channel and you cannot fast forward.
No.
Pretty much. Paraphrase.
The next match we have is The no holds barred match between HBK and Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Oh, Vince.
The man that we love to hate.
No holds barred. This match goes for
It goes for-
18 minutes and 22 seconds.
What did you think about this match, seeing this in person? And did you have an opportunity to watch a build up to this match? Because the build up was also that kayfabe, pretty epic, but a little cringy for me. What do you think, Dee?
I agree with everything you just said there. Yeah, especially given how in real life Vince was. But just on camera there, yeah, it was a nice build to it. He was just that asshole that he normally is. Just call it what it is, right? And just kind of threatening Sean's job and making his life a living hell and everything. So great build up. The match live, I didn't really know what to expect other than not to really have much of a match, right? There's no holds bar, so you know Vince can't really wrestle. So
Right.
it's almost like a Mick Foley dynamic. Like, what are they going to do to make this interesting? And they did a pretty good job with some of the spots they had in there.
Yeah.
Now, me for nitpicking,
Oh.
this should not have been a no holds barred match. Just call it a hardcore match.
They already had
We have
that.
two.
No, but you can
Yeah.
have
2 and
two.
1
You don't have to,
WrestleMania?
because that's essentially what ends up happening here. We got Sean putting Vince's picture that he had in Muscle Fitness or
That was
something like
fun.
that through Vince's head, and then we had lots of fun spots here. We got
So is
something.
there
Go
a
ahead.
point at which we talk about the Vince McMahon quasi blackface? Like, dude was just so tanned. See, it was
Uh-huh.
realistic that you
Vince
think he
Man.
might actually do it, but no, he didn't actually do it. But he was so tan that, I mean, it really looked like what are
During
you
this-
doing, bro?
Yeah, I mean, he was really tan on this one. I'm just surprised he didn't come out with. This is around the time when Vince is wearing do rags, in a
face.
couple of segments during TV, and that was pretty cringe. But let's give the
It
audience.
reminds me
a
of The
little-
Office. Who's the guy?
Michael Scott wears a do
It
rag.
reminds me of a Michael Scott moment. Whoa.
Think there's no, that's not when he's Prison Scott. That's another time when he wears a do rag.
Yes, it's on par with like Prison Sky. Like, please stop.
Yeah.
Dominic
we get,
Mysterio.
What's up?
That's it, like Dominic Mysterio. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
Prison
Prison
Mike.
Scott, yeah.
Thank
Prison
you.
Mike.
Thank you very much for correcting me, Corey. It was Prison Mike. So with this one, we also get like Vince has to get help. So we get the introduction of the Spirit Squad. The Spirit Squad had 5 wrestlers. They eventually become a tag team, and they had that stipulation, which is called the Freebird rule.
Shawn Michaels went at it with the Spirit Squad before this, though.
I think it happens a little bit more after.
Who was Shawn Michaels' tag team partner?
In this one, nobody.
No, before like.
Well, we had the DX stable, the Generation X with Hunter, and then they had China. And then Ravishing Rick Rude was initially part of it, but he eventually ends up leaving because for some reason someone forgot to actually sign Ravishing Rick Rude back, and he ends up signing with WCW, and then that's when they do an audible, and it just ends up being the 3 for a while, where it's China, Hunter, and HBK. But you're talking about probably how this feud progresses, because Vince is not satisfied after he loses to
Sure.
HBK.
Marty Jannetty.
Oh,
was
you
one
were
of his
thinking Marty Jannetty?
His tag team partners. So there was a situation where Vince had a whole like kiss my ass.
He had the Kiss My Ass Club.
So
Yeah, let's see that.
yeah. And that was part of this too, which I'm
Yeah.
like, this is obscene.
Well, was it more obscene that Shane is the one that ends up joining that club?
That also, but Dee, what did the crowd think? Were you all like,
They were probably into
all
it.
of this
Sounded
was
like
very
it.
like obscene to me.
Like, oh, I think actually our seats were behind Vince's ass, so we had the pleasure of seeing that angle from this whole thing.
Oh,
But
no.
overall, it was good to see Vince like take a beating. They had the spot with the ladder later on that I think really helped make, if there's going to be any kind of redeeming element of this match, it involved the ladder.
This spot was one of my favorites of the match. Seeing him get, what do you call it?
He's getting the elbow drop.
Getting the elbow drop.
Initially, Sean was going to go out to the top turnbuckle, but he decided that was not enough, and he brings out that 30-foot ladder. And once he gets the ladder set up, he's like, you know what? I need a little bit more of a something. So he puts Vince in a trash can, and he ends up giving him that particular elbow drop that he's known to have done for a while.
He was taking out the trash.
He was compacting it.
I was waiting for the rim shot there again.
Yeah.
This is definitely a recommended match for me. Finally, we see Vince McMahon get his comeuppance. Things that were cringy as part of this match for me, besides like the whole, like ass kissing situation. It seemed like the crowd went wild when I was watching this. And he talks about Shawn Michaels like dropping dirty, stuff about his family. So all of that's just like a little bit too much for me. And I'm not sure how Shawn Michaels signed on for that. Like, I get the kayfabe, I get storylines, I get him being such a super heel that we're like, yeah, take it all. And we're happy to see him and his son get it in this match. He does a great job being heel. So that was a little cringy for me, but I enjoyed watching him get wrecked. Sorry.
If you want to see Vince McMahon get wrecked,
then this is a match for you.
Definitely recommend that you go out, especially in the light of things. Like, if you're waiting to see Vince McMahon get his comeuppance, this is one of your chance to see it, because it's already been recorded. You get to see Vince McMahon get beat, bleed, and have his son basically in his rear end for about 10 to 15 seconds.
I mean, this couldn't have been any better if it was like a Brett. I mean, there's a couple of people that probably...
Yeah, just line them up.
That should have been a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably definitely should have had that match where Vince's Brett go at it. So, this is a borderline match, but just talking about how fun it is to see Vince get his comeuppance, even though it's like scripted. And Sean did a great job, and pretty much like he's doing all the work. He's like, don't worry about it, boss. I'm gonna make you look great. We're gonna have a great match, and he does. So yeah, go out there. I recommend that you guys go out and watch this match if you have 20 minutes to spare at any time, or if you're stuck, like D had said, if for some reason you can't fast forward, this is the only thing that you can't. You're stuck on this particular pay-per-view. Yeah, just keep watching. You've already watched The Undertaker. Watch this.
Might as well.
Do you have any final like tidbits after watching this match?
Yeah, it's yeah, good. Seeing Vince get his butt whooped was great, and Shawn Michaels was great. He carried the match. So pretty much everything that you said. I can't say I'm all aboard for this match, but it's a fun rewatch. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to see the story build up to this match with Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels talking with McMahon, this whole build up, go to our companion playlist for this WrestleMania. We have that full story there. So if you're kind of interested like I am.
Yeah. So with this, we go on to the next match, which we have a 3-way match. I think last time we had you, it was another 3-way for a championship match, wasn't there, D? Yeah, but we have a Rey Mysterio.
It was like maybe an Intercontinental or US. Yeah. It was like one of their lower titles.
Yeah, but we have Rey Mysterio versus Randy versus Kurt Angle for the World's Heavyweight Championship, or as it's otherwise known as the Big Gold Belt, Big Goldie.
She is a beauty.
Very beautiful belt. this came about because Rey Mysterio dedicated his Royal Rumble win, which he does achieve, to Eddie Guerrero, his memory and everything like that. But Randy is mad that Rey Mysterio ended up getting the upper hand on him, and they challenges him to No Way Out to put his shot at WrestleMania on the line, and Randy ends up winning. But hold on there. Teddy Long comes out and gets Mysterio back into this match and makes it a three-way.
So we have an introduction for Rey Mysterio with a group called POD. D, are you familiar with POD? Because
in 2006, I was familiar with POD. Yeah, they had a few songs out there around that time frame. Could I tell you what they were? Maybe not right now, but yeah, I was familiar with them. Had no idea they were going to be doing his theme, or that they actually did his theme in the first place.
Yeah. I always thought like it was some West Coast rapper, like we had South Park Mexican and other like rappers such like that, and then turns out to be POD, and I'm like, wait, I've heard of POD, and like they're like some religious Christian like rap group, and I can't believe that these are the guys that are actually going out there and doing this song.
I guess I have to listen to them on Spotify to take myself back to like 2005. So, did you think this match was legendary?
It wasn't legendary. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
Okay.
It was a good match. Like if they had time to cut out like some other things, like maybe the Boogeyman match, or if they cut off some time from the Vince McMahon Shawn Michaels match, they probably could have given these guys like another extra 5 to 6 minutes, because it's just a triple threat. Like you're going in there like maybe like setting things up, and like maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes into the match, they're already telling you, you know what, let's go home. We gotta wrap it up, B. We we gotta get this match done and over with. So it didn't have enough time to cook, as the kids say. So the only thing that stops me for recommending this match is that it felt like it needed more time. I don't I'm not saying that the ending or the way the match ends is terrible or anything like that. I like that Eddie, or that Ray, wins the belt. He has that moment with Eddie's widow Vicky and his nephew Chavo at the end, where they meet him up at the top, when he ends up winning with the West Coast Pop.
Yeah, that was really nice.
And he also, like, backstage, we didn't see this, but he also has his moment with Eddie Guerrero's son. I mean, his son, Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic. So overall, it was a great match. It gives us the finish that we were all looking for, because if I heard the pop of the audience, everybody was very excited to hear that, or to see that Rey Mysterio won, right, D?
In a way, it was like they booed him a little bit during the match, which is like that Trish Stratus effect. It's like Ray should be the emotional favorite here, but he, for whatever reason, I guess because Kurt Angle was so good, that people just wanted to cheer him as a heel.
He's so great.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Kurt.
Yeah,
it was like his music hit. The "You suck," right? You suck, you suck. But then we just cheered him the rest of the way. It was, oh no, crazy.
He's a great guy, whether he's a face, but he does his great work as a heel. And I think this is his last WrestleMania until he comes back to have that match with Ronda and Hunter.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you thought this match was okay? Is it a recommended or revisit for you?
It is, actually. I agree with the comments that they could have wrestled longer because the talent was there. Like Ray with the energy, Randy is just a natural, Kurt freaking Olympian, right? Like they could have added like 5, even 10 minutes onto the triple threat match and really brought out the drama. But for the time that they did, it was fast paced. It was like near falls finishes. Like they did their jobs very well. So I would say that just from a wrestling standpoint, technical, just excitement, they delivered. So I would say watch it if you want to watch a good wrestling match with high stakes, because it was for Big Goldie.
I agree. I agree with D. Hold on to your masks. This was a legendary. I want to say it was a legendary match because the finish was epic. Rey Mysterio gets Big Goldie, which is awesome. He had a sentimental moment. They have a tribute for Eddie, brought again another tear to my eye, and I thought it was pretty cool. So rewatch this.
All right. I'm out on an island on this one, but what can you do? All right, and the next match we have is the Playboy pillow fight between Tori Wilson and Candice Michelle. This match goes for 3 minutes.
It goes for 6 minutes and 54
minutes?
seconds. So you get 6 minutes and 54 seconds of this. You're watching this live, unless you went for a beer. What do you think?
I can't even remember live. Like it's, I think at this point we could tell that the main event was next. So you kind of know if you sandwich a match between the two, main title matches, it's going to be kind of trash. And even as someone who may or may not have had the magazines referenced in this match for these two ladies, it still was just a trash match.
It was supposed to be another palate cleanser. I think since Hunter's been main eventing and he had that whole X8 like PTSD where we had The Rock and Hollywood Hogan have that great match before they had to have his match. And he's like, no. I can't go out there after a banger match. So you got to have like these filler matches. And that's what we've been getting every time he's been main eventing. So we get this Playboy pillow fight where we get Tori starting to undress Candice. And then eventually Candice starts stripping off Tori. And eventually,
what year
Tori,
is this? 2005?
2006.
2006.
And Tori
2006.
wins. So
very different from 2024.
Man, we don't get that many types of matches unless you're probably seeing some type of indie match or some other type of wrestling promotion that's still relying on having women be the eye candy only and actual workers.
The bell rings, pillows are tossed, the atmosphere turns a little cheeky. But with that, it's also not a revisit for me.
So this is all a skip it unless for some reason you have not had access to the internet. And this is the only way you're able to find any particular revealing pictures of these particular women.
The interwebs.
Yeah. So with that.
Remember when we used to have internet cafes? That was a thing.
They're very popular
around that era.
Yeah.
So we get the main event. Triple H, the King of Kings, comes out versus John Cena. Now, this entrance is a Conan inspired type entrance. D, were you able to see this? Because it seemed that it was kind of foggy from what I could see in this picture. I wasn't sure
totally
if you...
We could totally see it, and it was very cool. Like, Triple H always brings it with his entrances, but this one was, I think, pretty badass, pretty unique.
Yeah.
We've come a long way from Hunter Helmsley III when his Renaissance gear. Do you remember when he first started
his
wrestling?
riding gear? Yeah. We've come a long way from him doing his bows. And then we get John Cena coming out here, and he has a very Chicago inspired type of thing. We have a film and how the only way you're going to make it is through hustle, loyalty, and respect. And just like we have the limo that came out for JBL, we have this nice 1920s inspired vehicle coming out.
What did you think about John Cena's wrestling intro? That was kind of weird to me.
I thought he held his own. I think he, with the Untouchables video and kind of talking about the Great Depression, I don't think that's a good look right there. Almost like he's wearing a robe, like he's getting out of the shower, like with his boots on. It is a weird look, but the rest of the entrance was, I think, fitting because Cena up until that point, like even when he was Dr. Thugonomics, he would like, I'm going to be in Boston, so either I'm going to either wear a Boston jersey as a face, or I'm going to wear like a Yankees jersey to be a heel. So he's always kind of representing in some way the area that he's at. So the fact that he incorporated Chicago, thought that was a good touch.
That's a good perspective. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I thought the shorts under the jacket was a little strange.
You should have got some tearaway pants. They had the Spirit Squad.
I was like, or even the suspenders with the pants for this one would have been fine. So, but now that you talk about him doing a throwback to where he comes from, okay. This is actually the first recommended match that I have with a Hunter with a Triple H in it. Was definitely a rewatch for me.
Yeah, this match goes 22 minutes. There was a lot of back and forth of Let's Go Cena and F you Cena and Cena sucks. How was the crowd? Was that very like mixed crowd as you can tell, or was it actually?
Yeah, the way that it came across on TV was the way that it was there. It's almost like Triple H wasn't there. You could have put anybody against Cena and you were going to just have that hot crowd, either extremely for him or extremely against him. I got the spinner belt right there. So I was one of I think even in the minority of it was a very pro Triple H crowd, right? But Cena still had his fans. So I'd say 70-30, 60-40 Triple H. It was just loud, and I think that's what made the match, like the wrestling, okay. Actually, it ended nicely, but the atmosphere is what made this the main event, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're like, unfortunately for me, I am not a fan of the spinner belt.
I love that you have the spinner belt in the back of you.
Go ahead and cover that up right now. Yeah,
you
should hold it and spin it.
And I think maybe that's, Chicago is a very like wrestling smart mark territory. So
why do you think that
very vocal, and when things aren't going the way that the fans want it to go. And I'm not sure if it's because of the spinner belt, or like, to me, it just doesn't seem like a very prestigious belt. And I know it's of the times of, like that was popular in pop culture, and it fit the persona of what John Cena had, but we have this great looking belt, Big Goldie, on one brand, and then you have this one belt, and it's like a juxtaposition of styles. And I'm not sure if that's it, but that's my particular reason why I don't like John Cena, because of that. Like,
it's the belt.
It's because of the belt. Yeah, I just don't like it. He's not very like talented where it comes to like match skills wise. Like, he improves, but the main thing about John Cena is he had the character, he had the gimmick, and he made it work. He makes it work when he has to. But that was like, I'm not a big John Cena fan. I'm a more as a wrestler, but what he does outside of the ring and the dedication that he has, not only to being like a better person, like all those Make-A-Wish things, and how he's grown as an actor. Yeah, I'm a fan of that guy. But as far as like his contributions to wrestling, unfortunately, I'm not a fan. But I can't really enjoy this match because the crowd throws me off. I know that John Cena is supposed to be the face, Triple H is supposed to be the heel, but it throws off the whole dynamics. So I recommend this match with a caveat where if you are wanting to watch this match, you have to watch it on mute, because you'll get a better understanding, and you'll get more of a payoff of what they're trying to do in the ring. They're trying to establish John Cena as a wrestler, as the face of the company, and Triple H has been main eventing 3 WrestleManias in a row, and we all know the story behind. He's Vince's son-in-law. He's married to Steph. You actually see Stephanie's actually pregnant with, I believe this is the first child that they're having. So he's gonna be with the company for a long time, and So for him to go out there and have to establish now this new guy, because John Cena, his debut was WrestleMania 20 and against the Big Show. So he's gone from winning the U.S. title, he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21, and now he's defending it here against a mainstay, the guy who's pretty much gonna inherit the company because he married into it. And but Hunter knows how to work, and he knows, how to make someone look good when he has to. And I don't. The only thing I have an issue with is, besides the crowd interaction, is I felt that if they're gonna have this feud continue, which does, they should have just had Hunter's hand fall. When they're doing, he has him in the STFU,
Mhm.
and they're doing the arm drop. They should have just had the arm drop because he eventually taps. And yeah, it's meant to make the STFU look a little bit stronger, but it also, like, we don't get a lot of times where Hunter taps. So I feel like that kind of like takes away from his mystique a little bit, because he went from like recovering from his consciousness and not letting his arm drop for the third time to eventually like tapping out like maybe 30-40 seconds after that. So
Mm.
as for me, but yeah, I recommend it with that caveat. You recommend it, D? You recommend it?
Yeah, I want to talk about a lot of what you said there, because some of it I agree with and I understand the nuance. Some of it I don't. I think that for me, the atmosphere made that match. So for a person to watch it on mute, you're missing a lot. Now, I get what you're saying, that if you're trying to follow the WWE agenda, right, and what they're trying to establish in that match, the
Right.
crowd messed that up. I get it. But from a fan standpoint, watching this match over again, it's not that great without the tug of war that's going on with the audience and how they're interplaying with the wrestlers. So I'd have to say you gotta watch it. That atmosphere made it what it was, and Triple H too tapping out. I think that gasp in the audience when he did it, no one
Mm-hmm.
expected that. Even
No
people
one.
who thought Cena
Yeah.
was going to win, it was like, whoa, the hand dropped. Did it really?
Mhm.
And then the music hits. Like that was a moment that helped to make helped to make John Cena
Yeah,
even more than what he was at that time.
Yeah.
I agree. This is a saga that I never knew I needed. I didn't expect to see Triple H against John Cena in this WrestleMania. So the nation leader against the game, John Cena with his never give up mantra facing off against Triple H. Like you said, when he tapped out, I was like, holy shit, can't believe that's happening. I enjoyed the crowd. I thought they were enthusiastic. And this is definitely a recommended watch for me. Revisits. I like the introduction with Triple H, how he comes out, super cool. Good to see his evolution. And like you said, we get to see Triple H put in the work to get John Cena over. And Cena takes the win at 2022. That's when this match hits the climax, and he retains his WWE Championship. So watch it. It's good for a new smart mark and training like me.
Yeah.
Watch it to
Alright.
know the power of a crowd and how it can
Yes,
influence the match.
for sure.
All right. So with this, there's anything else that we need to go over? Let's go ahead and give a little people a little bit of a recap, okay? So with me, I end up recommending that people watch the Money in the Bank ladder match. The Edge versus Mick Foley is one of my favorite matches. The Trish versus Mickey James, just because of it's an actual first women's match that you can watch that it has no type of a sexual connotation to it. It's not a panties match. It's not an evening gown match. It's a traditional wrestling match, and you actually get blood that's being exposed here in this match. And then the other match I recommend is the Shawn Michaels uh, with Vince McMahon, just because we get to see Vince McMahon get his comeuppance. Even though this feud continues, it's still it's especially now with the climate, it's good to see that Vince McMahon actually got a match where he gets beat up and he doesn't win and he's all bleedy at the end of it all. And oh yeah, I forgot my other last match that I recommend is the John Cena Triple H match with a little bit of a caveat. I say without the sound on. And what about you?
I think we're on the same page. I enjoyed watching Big Show and Kane versus Carlito and Masters. Also Edge versus Foley was awesome. One that I liked was Boogeyman versus Booker T. I liked the introduction to that match. Mickey versus Trish was good for all the things that you said or just mentioned. Also Undertaker versus Henry. I was on the fence with that one. And that was not a recommended match for me.
Okay.
HBK versus Vince, iconic. Ray versus Randy versus Angle, that ending, and Cena versus Triple H.
And the Money in the Bank, did you say that one?
That was another.
Okay.
Yep.
And D?
I'm going to try to take the list that I had earlier of recommended matches and streamline that a bit because, WrestleMania is 4 hours around this. They're longer now, but
Yeah.
that's like, what are people really needing to see? I think it's the Money in the Bank match. We all agree on that. Edge and Mick Foley, we all agree on that.
Yeah.
I think Trish and Mickey, we agree on that. And then I guess the only other one I would say is the main event, because those were the takeaway moments for me. I still to this day, live with you all right now, remember how it felt when Triple H's hand hit that mat and just the shock. I remember the Mickey James, and I remember the flaming table and the Money in the Bank, the Shelton Benjamins and everything. The rest of the stuff, even though I recommend it, I think there's just like a different level for those matches, those 4 matches I just said.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, please remember to like, comment, share this video if you enjoyed our content. Share it with fellow wrestling fans, heels, baby faces, marks in training like my wife, whoever you want to see this particular rewatch. The audio will be going live on Monday on all platforms: Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube Music. Wherever you listen, it's probably there. And if it isn't, write us an email at revisitingmania@gmail.com. If you have any questions or you have any recommendations for myself or for Maria, you can also reach there. If you don't want to leave a comment, subscribe to our channel for more exciting content as we dive into other iconic moments, pay-per-views, and other legendary matches from professional wrestling. The next one we'll be on February 11th, and we'll finally post our bonus episode of the Hell in a Cell of the King of the Ring of 1998 between The Undertaker and Mick Foley.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
D, did you have anything that you wanted to wrap up with or plug?
No, other than thanks to you all, not much. This was a blast again. I enjoy these trips down memory lane and can't wait to see what other content you all come up with.
You're the
All right.
best. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. And everybody, let's keep the conversation going. Bye.